Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to share in what all of my colleagues have said about your distinguished service, Secretary Panetta, and how grateful we are for everything that you've done for our country. Deeply appreciated it. And I thank you both for being here. I wanted to follow up, General Dempsey, on, as I understand it, you received briefings from General Ham that would include intelligence reporting as well as the reports from the State Department, and you received those regarding the situation in Libya, including the information about the prior attacks within Benghazi, including those on our consulate. Is that right?
Yes, Senator. We get reports weekly from each combatant commander. And
so as the ARB found, as well as the HISCAC did a report on this as well, but the ARB had said that there was a clear and vivid picture of a rapidly deteriorating threat environment in eastern Libya. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. One of the things you had said is that, Secretary, that you were aware that Ambassador Stevens of his cable that said that the consulate could not withstand a coordinated attack. Is that right?
Correct.
In general, you had said that previously you were aware of that?
Yeah, I was aware of the communication back to the State Department.
And you said that the State Department didn't request assistance. Is that right? Is that, General, I believe you said that?
Yes.
No, that's correct.
Did you ever bring that to the attention of Secretary Clinton? I mean, this is a pretty surprising and shocking, important cable to receive from an ambassador that where our people are housed could not withstand a coordinated attack. Did you ever speak with Secretary Clinton about that?
Senator, you know, as I mentioned in my testimony, NCTC had identified almost 281 facilities that were under a threat of one kind or another, and to deal with that, I mean, that's not our responsibility.
Well,
that's
I just want to, and I just would add my straightforward question, I think, and particular to both of you, is particularly to General Dempsey. You said you were aware of the cable. Did you ever bring it to Secretary Clinton's attention, given that it said from her ambassador that the consulate could not withstand a coordinated attack? Yes or no?
But I did not. The cable was actually to the State Department, not to me.
No, I understand, but you were aware of it. It's a pretty important cable, and you said you were also aware of the deteriorating security situation.
As a result of our meetings on the counterterrorism.
Okay, but you did not bring it to Secretary Clinton?
I did not.
Did you ever bring it to the President's attention, either of you?
No.
No.
Okay. Let me, based on the deteriorating security situation, we have this map that has the potential military bases in the area. As I understand it, we have F-16s at Aviano. Is that true?
That's correct.
Were they deployed that night?
They were not.
Why not?
For a couple of reasons. One is that in order to deploy them, it requires this is the middle of the night now. These are not aircraft on strip alert. They're there as part of our commitment to NATO and Europe. And so as we looked at the timeline, it was pretty clear that it would take up to 20 hours or so to get them there. Secondly, Senator, importantly, it was the wrong tool for the job.
I guess it's not clear to me why it would, you said in your testimony that we are on heightened alert on September 11th, why it would take over 20 hours. We know that flight time for an F-16 is certainly not 20 hours, even if we were to refuel from Aviano. And given the deteriorating security situation that you've described, it really is, I don't understand why we didn't have armed assets somewhere in the area that could have responded in time, at least for the second attack on the annex. That's not clear to me, and I think that is insufficient as we look at what happened here. But I do have a follow-up question. Secretary Panetta, you said that you were in a briefing with the President of the United States. I believe it was about 5 o'clock our time, and you had just learned about the incident on the consulate. What conversation did you have with the President? What did he ask you to do as a result of this attack? And throughout the night, what communications were you having with him? Yeah. And can you tell us on a timeline as to who was calling the shots there, if it wasn't him, another member of the White House?
At the time, we were concerned about Cairo and demonstrations in Cairo, and then we had just picked up the information that that something was happening, that there was an apparent attack going on in Benghazi, and I informed the President of that fact, and he at that point directed both myself and General Dempsey to do everything we needed to do to try to protect lives there.
Did he ask you how long it would take to deploy assets, including armed aviation, to the area?
He basically said, do whatever you need to do to be able to protect our people there.
Did you have any, so he didn't ask you what ability we had in the area and what we could do?
No, I mean, he relied on both myself as Secretary and on General Dempsey's capabilities. He knows generally what we've deployed into the region. We've presented that to him in other briefings, so he knew generally what was deployed out there, but as to specifics about time, et cetera, no, he just left that up to us.
Did you have any further communications with him that night?
No.
Did you have any other further communications? Did he ever call you that night to say, how are things going? What's going on? Where's the consulate?
No, but we were aware that as we were getting information on what was taking place there, particularly when we got information that the ambassador, his life had been lost, we were aware that that information went to the White House.
Did you communicate with anyone else at the White House that night?
No.
No one else called you to say, how are things going?
No.
Okay. And since then, has the President asked you, why weren't we able to get, in light of the second attack that occurred 7 hours later, armed assets there in order to help those who were left and attacked in the annex?
The President has made very clear to both myself and General Dempsey that with regards to future threats, we have got to be able to deploy forces in a position where we can more rapidly respond.
But just to be clear, that night he didn't ask you what assets we had available and how quickly they could respond and what we could do to help those individuals there.
I think the biggest problem that night, Senator, was that nobody knew really what was going on there.
And there was no follow-up during the night, at least from the White House directly?
No, there wasn't.
I would,
Thank you.
if I could just to correct one thing, I wouldn't say there was no follow-up from the White House. There was no follow-up, to my knowledge, with the President. But his staff was engaged with the National Military Command Center and pretty constantly through the period, which is the way it would normally work.
But no direct communication from him?
Not on my part, no.
Thank you.
Thank you,